Hello and welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. I'm Dave G and joining me tonight is my co-host.
Hello everybody, I'm Kyle.
And tonight we're going to be taking a look at a film that's still out in cinemas at the moment, and that is the brand new Liam Neeson movie, The Marksman. Well, it feels like Liam Neeson was the only actor out there making multiple movies during the pandemic year, because he's already had a couple of movies come out in the last few months. This one is the new one from director Robert Lorenz, of course a great collaborator with Clint Eastwood over the years, and boy does that show in this film. It's a movie where Neeson plays a kind of grumpy ranch owner called Jim that lives on the border of the United States and Mexico. Now, normally when aliens, as they are referred to in this movie, come across the border, the first thing that Jim does is he rings his stepdaughter, played here by Catherine Winnick, to let her know that there's more people coming, and she comes and gets them in her role as a federal agent. But things kind of go horribly wrong one day when Rosa, played by Teresa Ruiz, tries to cross the border with her son, Miguel, played by Jacob Perez. They're on the run because of what a family member has done, and I won't spoil that for people that are watching it, but they've got the cartel hot on their tail. And as they get across the border, the cartel open fire, and Jim opens fire back, killing off a couple of cartel members, which then means that he is now the hunted, led by a group led by Mercutio, played by Juan Pablo Raba. Now, mate, I know this is a movie that I think is going to be right up your alley, the same as it is mine, because it's almost like a modern-day Western. We both kind of like Liam Neeson, but what did you think of The Marksman?
Yeah, I loved it, man. It really was a great film. It's something like, as you say, I'm a huge fan of Liam Neeson, and his last film that I saw, which I remember we reviewed, was Honest Thief.
Yep.
And I was really disappointed in that movie, because I thought it felt like kind of a cheap, kind of a forgettable action film that didn't really live up to Liam Neeson's other action roles. And if that was, being an actor that's getting on, if that was like his last action movie that he was going to make, it should have been one that was more tailored to his age, instead of, like, what happened was it kind of more showed his age more than anything, showed that he was maybe a little bit too old to be doing like action films like that.
Yeah.
This, however, is a totally different game, and like it's not over the top action. It's a lot more subdued as far as the action sequences are concerned. It's definitely, as you say, something that's more like a Clint Eastwood type movie. And yeah, like having having the director Robert Lorenz, who is more or less you could say he's almost like a protege of Clint Eastwood, having worked as producer or assistant director on almost every film that Clint Eastwood's made since the 90s. It really had that kind of old school Hollywood feel to it. I really did enjoy this. I really did enjoy this movie. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I'm looking at a picture at the moment on my screen, and it's only half visible because, like, the rest of the photo is down underneath the scroll bar, and it looks like Clint Eastwood. Like, the hat, the stance, the weathered kind of face, it looks like Clint Eastwood. It's only when you scroll down you realize that it's Liam Neeson. And look, I don't know if I believe this whole Liam Neeson's not going to make action movies anymore, because the statement came out when this movie was being publicised here in Australia, and it was publicised as Liam Neeson's last action movie. But the dude's in Melbourne at the moment making a movie that's listed as an action thriller. So I don't know how much I kind of believe that. But look, I liked this movie. It's such a simple storyline. Like, it's just one of those storylines where cartel coming after a guy because he's tried to help someone. You have got the chiseled, weather-beaten old guy that, like, Clint Eastwood would have loved this role. I was thinking when I was watching this movie, Clint Eastwood's got every right to be ringing up the American Actors Guild going, why are you bringing this old Irish guy over to play the roles that I should be playing? But look, it's just a great modern-day Western, and we're seeing so many of them at the moment. We're seeing, over the past couple of years, there's been some fantastic Western films. The film with Kevin Costner that came out last year. This one, we've got High Ground, which was the Australian Western that came out earlier this year as well. And it really feels like we're getting this great resurgence of Western films at the moment. And the good thing is, because there's only a few being made, they're absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I agree. I love The Marksman as well.
Yeah, like it really did. It felt like the kind of movie that, yeah, like Clint Eastwood would have starred in like 20 years ago, as like the more older, jaded rancher that's been dragged into this situation. And yeah, just it really was great. Like I said, it's definitely it's one that's really been tailored much better to Liam Neeson. Like there's only maybe there's one action scene in the movie, like kind of a fight that happens kind of later on, and that I was thinking it was a little bit, oh, come on, you know, like, but other than that, it didn't really strain believability. Like it's not like a full-on crazy physical action movie. It's more like, yeah, as you say, like the Western thriller. There's not a whole lot of fist fights and that kind of stuff happening in it. It's a totally different kind of movie. And like that, as you said, there's a few of them coming out now, I guess, with so many, I guess that genre, maybe that genre is starting to pick up again with with every other movie being some kind of a superhero film. So yeah, it's great to see this kind of a movie picking up again. I guess something I wish a little bit more work was done on was Jim's character arc. Like, I kind of would like to have seen him as a little bit more of a selfish character at the start of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think we were talking about this yesterday, and like as overdone as it is, I still enjoy the selfish character who begins to think of others storyline. It can be an interesting one, and I think that Jim, unfortunately, like, he starts out as kind of a likable and honorable man. Like, he's kind of dragged into the situation for money to pay for his ranch, but honestly, the ranch has already been sold off, and he only really wants to hold on to it because his wife's ashes are scattered there. Like, it didn't really feel like there was a selfish aspect to that character. Like, I think they tried to play up that he was a bit of an alcoholic, that he was a bit jaded, but like it wasn't. There didn't seem to be much for him to throw away, and for him to actually become like a selfless hero to protect this kid as he's being hunted by the cartels. As opposed to like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Blood Diamond, like starting out the film being fueled completely by greed, but by the end of it he like sacrifices himself and everything he has to protect other people. Yeah, so I don't know, just that and some of the other character moments. Like, I don't know, what did you think of Jim as a character?
Yeah, I did think that they swung his character around to being a savior a little bit too quickly. I mean, we see at the start of this movie that he basically just, whenever he comes across somebody who has like come into like America from Mexico, he pretty much just rings up his daughter-in-law and dobs him in. Yeah, like he's a bit of a narc, like, to use a less than flattering term. But yeah, he swings around so quickly, like with this mother and son. Like, that he's willing to go all out to defend them, kind of thing. Yeah, and I know previously people have said, like, yeah, but he did call an ambulance for the other guy, but there's a big difference between calling an ambulance and knowing that the guy's still going to get picked up by the feds than suddenly putting yourself in a firefight, like, to protect somebody. So I think they either had to show early on that that he is a caring kind of character, despite what he shows the world. And we've seen those characters before. And I'm thinking of Michael Keaton's character in Rams, where he's kind of set up as the grump that has a go at everybody, but then when it comes down to helping his community, he does. And I think they could have done that with Liam Neeson's character here, because it did feel like that swing around happened just a little bit too quickly, especially when it's already been set up that he adores his stepdaughter, but suddenly he's kind of almost working against her and making her look bad. So, yeah, it did feel like that bit did swing around a little bit. I think if the writers had had another chance, they may have rewritten the start of this film.
Yeah, like he's motivated by money early on, but really it didn't feel like it really was much of a motivation to him. It just felt like, no, I'm going to protect this kid.
Yeah.
Straight away. Which, of course, like, obviously you want him to. But, like, yeah, I think, especially when it kind of started tapping into, like, later on him kind of drinking and, like, there's a part where he goes to the bar with the kid and he actually gets drunk, and basically when the kid's off in the toilet, he gets so drunk he ends up, like, pretty much completely forgetting about the kid and going to sleep in his car.
Yeah.
And, like, it kind of seemed out of character for how we had seen him for the rest of the movie. You know, it didn't seem... like, there was a little bit of that as far as the characterization of Jim, I thought might have... it could have done with a bit of work. I thought the supporting actors were great, though. I thought Jacob Perez did a great job as Miguel, the child.
Yeah.
There's no surprise at all when the kid can speak English. Like, as all these movies have.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It always happens. But, like, he never came off as, like, as an annoying child actor, which can sometimes happen in these movies. You sometimes find this big little kid to be, like, whiny or whatever, but it's like, he never came off that way, so...
Deadpool 2.
Yeah. Oh, God. Jesus. I was about to go off on a tangent on that. Oh, jeez. And he's doing Subway ads now or something. Jeez. No. Yeah. Also, Juan Pablo Raba as he was great as the head honcho trying to track down Jim and Miguel. Like he had the right amount of menace to his character and personality where you saw him as like an actual person when it would have been very easy for him to just phone it in and to just be this like one-dimensional villain character. Like if anything, he may have been a little let down by the script. Like there's moments that are great which show that he wants to be something more honorable than he is, and that this is what Jim is trying to save Miguel from becoming. But there's other moments that they do, like they feel a lot more simplistic villainous moments, like certain like the way that he kills certain characters in a way that's just, it's almost like it's designed just for us to say, oh yeah, he's a bad guy, you know, like it was kind of like a split character. Like he did really give a good performance, and I think that as far as like an antagonist, he did a good job. I just think that maybe there was a little bit more that could have gone into the writing of that character. What did you think of the supporting characters in general?
Yeah, I thought they worked quite well. I was kind of glad that they didn't go with like all cliches. Like I did think Juan Pablo Raba did a good job, but he was almost like that little bit of a cliched cartel.
There were parts, yeah.
Yeah, kind of character that he's played in other movies and other television shows as well. I kind of liked the fact, though, even though they had some like bigger names in some parts in this film, they weren't like almost given like the same screen time as Liam Neeson. Like, I love Catherine Winnick. I think her work on Vikings has been absolutely brilliant, and I know she's looking now to try and make that big switch to film now that Vikings is drawn to a close. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't give her the stereotypical, oh, let's make her a love interest kind of thing for Liam Neeson, like that they did make her the stepdaughter. It was almost like, if we make her the stepdaughter, then that means that nobody can come on board and make them a love interest kind of thing. Like, I thought that was really well done in making her that kind of character, but not giving her as much screen time as Liam Neeson. And I think that I really liked. I find her character really interesting. You almost kind of like think, gee, you could do a spin-off kind of movie or a television show about a headstrong female federal agent that guards the border between like Mexico and the US. I thought that worked really well. I think the support characters in this film did what they needed to do, because really this movie was Jacob Perez and Liam Neeson's film, and I thought Jacob Perez did such a great job here. I know that this kind of movie won't attract awards attention, but gee, that kid kind of deserves something for being in all of those scenes with a seasoned veteran like Liam Neeson and not getting out acted by the guy.
Yeah, he really did hold his own. I think we've seen a few movies over the last year where like child actors have really kind of held their own as up against like leading men, and the kid really did do a good job. Like I don't think I've seen him in anything else. But yeah, he really. Whereas I think half of the supporting cast of this movie seem to have had roles in Narcos Mexico. So it's like you say, Ron Pablo Araba. Like I really hope that because he was so, I thought that he was really good in this. So like I would love to see him go on to do other things that like beyond just playing like a some kind of cartel bad guy. Yeah. He's one of those guys where you do hope that at some stage he gets to play like another role, like a police detective or something. But poor guy, he just keeps on playing cartel bosses at the moment, or cartel hitmen. So yeah. What did you think of the Catherine Winnick role? Because I found that to be a really interesting role. Yeah, I liked her in it. I haven't actually watched Vikings before, so I haven't seen her before.
Yeah.
But I really did enjoy her character as well. It was another case where I wish there was a little bit more with her in the movie, because I almost think that some of her stuff may have been cut out, because at one point she seems to have like a partner in the that seems to be following her around, and he was never introduced, and he seemed like the kind of guy that's going to turn out that he's actually like passing on information to the cartel or something. Just there was something about her scenes that feel like maybe some of her stuff may be on the cutting room floor.
I did get that feeling too. So
which is a pity, because I really did enjoy her in the movie. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, I just kept on thinking all the way through that you could easily do like I kept on thinking of the television series Longmire, and it's just killing me now. I can't think of the actress's name, but the actress that kind of rose to stardom because of Battlestar Galactica.
She's I know she was in Riddick.
Yeah, but she's like the
Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff, that's right. Yeah, she's in Longmire. Where she plays like a tough female cop, and I kind of saw Catherine Winnick's character in that same kind of sense, and it's like, man, they could actually make a pretty good movie or a television show revolving around her character having problems with the cartel trying to come over the border as well. So I don't know if that's something that they'll look at doing in the future, but yeah, it's definitely a well set up enough character that they could spin her off into her own series like that.
Yeah, I think maybe the director of this movie having been, to go back to the thing of it being like kind of a protege of Clint Eastwood, like it seems it's odd to say that this is only this director's second movie.
Yeah.
You know, like as far as being the lead director, because yeah, he really does show these, like, you can tell he has a handle on his craft, and so I'm just like the supporting the characters, the actors in this movie. Like, I'm really interested to see other things that that the director of this movie could go on to do on his own, because like it has that old school Hollywood feel that Clint Eastwood's movies have had. You know, like there's a lot of movies, like action movies, and even some westerns. They all have like a certain kind of a lot of them have the same kind of feel to them, and this has a very different feel to it, which feels like more traditional, more old school, and less trying to think, less watered down.
Yeah.
So like I'm glad to see that style and the like movies with balls like that. I guess like I'm glad to see filmmakers still being able to make movies like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this director goes on to do.
Definitely, yeah, me too. And I guess kind of to sum up a little bit now, what are you going to give this one out of 5? Because yeah, I did find this an exciting film.
Yeah, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 myself. Like, yeah, there's certain. It was quite a simple movie, and while I've seen some aspects of the story done more impressively in other films, I still found this to be a really enjoyable movie. I really did like it. And going back to what I said at the start, like, although like yeah, we doubt this will be Liam Neeson's last action movie. Like, it's a much better movie tailored to his style of what really suits him than Honest Thief was. So like, I really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. Again, I thought this was a really exciting film. Like you said, I'm kind of expecting like this director now for me is in that same kind of area as Jeff Nichols, who we were so excited when he made Mud. The film like that we saw that the guy was going to be a talent. I think this guy is going to be a real talent. I'm also kind of curious to see where a couple of the actors from this film go now as well. Jacob Perez, and I really want to see Catherine Winnick now almost take that next step up as well to become like a to become like a star in her own, because this is a movie where she showed that she's got drama skills, whereas in Viking she showed that she has drama skills and action skills as well. So will we see her like end up in the DC universe or the Marvel universe now that Vikings is finished? I don't know. Like it just, yeah, it makes me really excited to see where it's going to go from here on. But that's it for this episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. You gave this one 4 out of 5. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. We both liked it, so go out and check out The Marksman with Liam Neeson. But for now, I've been Dave G.
And I've been Kyle.
And we'll be back soon with another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy.